Did you know that the Department of Energy just dropped a bombshell report warning that blackout hours could increase by 100 times by 2030? Yeah, you heard that right. And with power outages already jumping 20% every single year since 2019, the next blackout isn't a question of if, it's a question of when. Listen up, because today, I'm revealing 9 critical supplies you absolutely need before the lights go out. And trust me, number 7 isn't just surprising. It literally saved my neighbor's family during last winter's 5-day outage. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to grab, how to store it, and why these specific items could be the difference between comfort and chaos. Before we dive in, hit that like button and subscribe because I've spent the last 2 weeks analyzing power grid reports, talking to emergency preparedness experts, and researching what actually works when the power goes down. Let's get into it. Supply number 1, portable power station. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room, backup power. And no, I'm not talking about those noisy gas generators your neighbor runs at 2 a.m. Here's something most people don't know. According to the latest 2025 data, 83% of all power outages are caused by extreme weather, and they're lasting way longer than they used to. Recent studies from Texas A&M University show that outages have gotten 20% worse each year since 2019. That means longer blackouts, more frequent disruptions, and honestly, more headaches for families who aren't prepared. Now here's where it gets interesting. Modern portable power stations have completely changed the game. I'm talking about units that can run your refrigerator, charge your phones, power medical devices, and even keep your Wi-Fi running. But here's the kicker. Not all power stations are created equal. Last month, I interviewed 3 emergency preparedness experts, and they all said the same thing. Look for power stations with at least 1,500 watt-hours of capacity. Why? Because that's enough to keep your essentials running for 24 to 48 hours during a blackout. Pro tip that most people miss. Get one with solar charging capability. During extended outages, and trust me, they're becoming more common, you can recharge during the day and use it at night. My neighbor Sarah learned this the hard way last winter when her power was out for 5 days straight. She had a power station without solar charging, and by day 3, it was useless. Here's a money-saving hack. Watch for sales during off-season months like March or October. I saved 35% on mine by buying it in early spring. Plus, these things last for years, so think of it as an insurance policy that actually pays off. Quick reality check. The average American home uses about 30 kilowatt hours per day. You're not going to power everything with a portable station, but you can keep the critical stuff running. Phones, tablets, a small fridge, LED lights, and medical devices. And speaking of critical devices, let me tell you about supply number 2. Which pairs perfectly with your power station. Supply number 2, LED lanterns and flashlights. Now let's talk lighting, because when the sun goes down during a blackout, things get real very quickly. But here's what shocked me when I was researching this. Most people are still using old-school flashlights with alkaline batteries that die within hours. Listen to this. Modern LED technology has completely revolutionized emergency lighting. A quality LED lantern can run for 200 to 300 hours on a single set of batteries. That's not a typo, 300 hours. Compare that to traditional flashlights that might give you 10 to 15 hours if you're lucky. But here's the insider secret that changed everything for me. Get lanterns with multiple brightness settings. Why? Because during a week-long outage last year in North Carolina, families who had adjustable lanterns conserved their battery life by running them on low during most hours and cranking them up only when needed. And here's something FEMA doesn't advertise enough. You need 1 light source per person in your household. Not per room, per person. Think about it. If someone needs to use the bathroom at 2 a.m. during a blackout, you don't want the whole family stumbling around in the dark. Pro tip I learned from a veteran prepper: store your lanterns in different locations around your house. 1 in the kitchen, 1 in each bedroom, One near your main exit. Trust me, when the power goes out suddenly, and it will, you don't want to be fumbling through drawers trying to find a flashlight. Here's a money-saving hack that's trending right now. Buy rechargeable LED lanterns that can also be powered by your portable power station or even solar panels. I grabbed 3 of these on Amazon for $25 each during Prime Day, and they've already paid for themselves in peace of mind. Quick storage tip: check your batteries every 3 months. I learned this the embarrassing way when my flashlight was dead during the last outage because the batteries had corroded. Now I set a phone reminder, and it takes me literally 5 minutes every quarter. Now lighting sorted. But what about staying warm or cool? Let me share supply number 3, which most people completely overlook. Supply number 3, emergency heating and cooling solutions. All right, this is where things get serious. Extreme temperatures during power outages aren't just uncomfortable, they're legitimately dangerous. According to recent reports, the 2021 Texas winter storm killed over 240 people, and extreme heat during blackouts sends thousands to emergency rooms every summer. Here's what most people don't realize. Your home starts losing heat or cooling within the first hour of a power outage. The Department of Energy says indoor temperatures can drop or rise dramatically within just 6 to 8 hours, depending on the season and your home's insulation. Now, for winter blackouts, here's the game changer. Portable propane heaters rated for indoor use. But, and this is crucial, you need one that's specifically designed and certified for indoor use with proper ventilation. I can't stress this enough. Carbon monoxide poisoning during blackouts is a real threat. Pro tip from a survival expert I interviewed: Mr. Heater's Buddy series is the gold standard. They have built-in oxygen depletion sensors and automatic shut-off features. One small canister can heat a 200 square foot room for up to 5 hours. For a family of 4, stock at least 6 to 8 canisters per winter season. But here's what blew my mind about summer blackouts. Battery-powered fans are absolute lifesavers. During August 2025, parts of North Carolina hit triple-digit temperatures during a multi-day outage. Families with battery-powered or USB fans could at least move air around and prevent heat exhaustion. Quick reality check. Your refrigerator will stay cold for about 4 hours if you keep it closed, and your freezer will maintain temperature for 24 to 48 hours. But here's a hack that went viral among preppers last summer. Fill empty spaces in your freezer with containers of water before storm season. They act as ice blocks and extend your freezer's cooling time significantly. And speaking of food safety, supply number 4 is something that literally saved hundreds of dollars worth of groceries for my cousin during last year's hurricane season. Supply number 4, coolers and ice packs. Let me share something that's going to save you serious money. According to USDA guidelines, any food that's been above 40 degrees for more than 2 hours needs to be thrown out. Think about that. One extended blackout could mean tossing $300 to $500 worth of groceries. Here's where smart preparation comes in. Last summer, I talked to a mom in Florida who went through a 6-day blackout after a hurricane. She told me her secret: having multiple high-quality coolers and a freezer full of ice packs saved her family's entire food supply. But here's what most people get wrong. They wait until the power goes out to start thinking about coolers. Big mistake. The smart move is to have your coolers ready to go with frozen ice packs already in your freezer. Pro tip that's trending in prepper communities right now. Those large, reusable ice packs are way better than bags of ice. Why? Because they don't create a melting mess, they last longer, and you can refreeze them once power returns. I keep 8 large ice packs in my freezer year-round, taking up minimal space but providing maximum protection. Here's a money-saving hack I discovered. Buy your coolers off-season. I grabbed a 70-quart cooler in November for $60, half the summer price. Plus, go for light-colored coolers. Dark colors absorb heat faster, and your ice melts quicker. Now, Here's an insider secret from emergency management professionals. Create a cooling zone strategy. Don't open your main refrigerator unnecessarily. Instead, transfer essentials to a well-iced cooler that you'll actually use during the blackout. This keeps your fridge colder longer for when power returns. Quick food safety tip that could save you from food poisoning. If anything in your fridge smells off, looks questionable, or has been above 40-degree temperature for over 2 hours, toss it. It's not worth the risk. I've seen too many families get sick trying to save food that should have been thrown out. And speaking of safety, supply number 5 is something that could literally save your life, and most people don't even think about it. Supply number 5, emergency radio. All right, let me tell you a story that's going to change how you think about communication during blackouts. Last August in Springfield, Missouri, a transformer fire knocked out power to thousands of customers. Cell towers went down within hours. Internet? Gone. People had absolutely no idea what was happening or when power would return. Here's the harsh reality. During major outages, your cell phone becomes useless once the battery dies and backup power at cell towers runs out. According to recent FCC reports, most cell towers only have 4 to 8 hours of backup power. After that, you're cut off from the world. This is where an emergency radio becomes your lifeline. I'm not talking about those cheap pocket radios from the dollar store. I'm talking about a hand crank or solar-powered no-way weather radio that can receive emergency broadcasts even when everything else fails. But here's what shocked me during my research. Modern emergency radios can do way more than just receive AM/FM stations. The good ones have weather alert bands, built-in flashlights, and even USB ports to charge your phone. It's like having 3 essential tools in one device. Pro tip from a disaster response coordinator I interviewed. Get a radio with both hand crank and solar charging options. Why? Because during extended winter blackouts, when sunshine is limited, you can still manually crank it for power. And during summer outages, solar charging takes over. Here's a real-world example that drives this home. During the 2021 Texas winter storm, people with emergency radios heard critical updates about warming shelters, water distribution points, and estimated restoration times. Meanwhile, those relying only on phones were completely in the dark, literally and figuratively. Quick buying guide. Look for radios with at least 2,000 mAh battery capacity. That gives you enough juice to run the radio for hours and even charge your phone in an emergency. I picked mine up on Amazon for $35, and it's already proven its worth during 2 power outages this year. And here's a feature most people overlook. Make sure it has an earphone jack. When you're huddled in one room trying to conserve body heat during a winter blackout, you don't want to blast the radio and wake everyone up at 3 a.m. to check for updates. Now, communication covered. But what about staying clean and maintaining hygiene? Supply number 6 is something that sounds boring, but becomes absolutely critical after day 2 of a blackout. Supply number 6, hygiene and sanitation supplies. Listen, nobody wants to talk about this, but let's get real for a minute. After 48 hours without power, hygiene becomes a serious issue. And according to CDC guidelines, maintaining sanitation during emergencies is crucial to preventing illness. Here's what most people don't think about until it's too late. What happens when you can't shower for a week? What if you can't flush your toilet because your home uses an electric pump for water? These aren't hypothetical questions. These are real situations thousands of families face during recent extended blackouts. Let me break down what you actually need. First up, no rinse body wipes and dry shampoo. I know, it sounds like something for camping trips, but trust me, after 3 days without power in the middle of summer, these become worth their weight in gold. Pro tip from a nurse who works disaster response. Medical-grade body wipes are way better than baby wipes for adults. They're larger, stronger, and actually designed to clean and deodorize without water. I keep 2 large containers in my emergency kit, and they take up less space than you'd think. But here's where it gets really important. Toilet sanitation. If your water system is down, you need a plan. The simplest solution? Line your toilet bowl with heavy-duty trash bags, use it as normal, then seal and dispose of the bags. It's not glamorous, but it works. Here's a hack that went viral in prepper groups after last year's outages. Keep a 5-gallon bucket with a snap-on toilet seat as a backup. Add some biodegradable bags, and you've got a functioning emergency toilet. My neighbor thought I was crazy for having one until their water pump failed during a 4-day blackout. Guess who came knocking? Quick sanitation checklist that emergency management experts recommend. Hand sanitizer, at least 60% alcohol, antibacterial wipes, trash bags, heavy duty, multiple sizes, toilet paper, more than you think you need, feminine hygiene products, toothbrush, and toothpaste. Here's something doctors don't tell you enough. During blackouts, gastrointestinal illnesses spike by 30% because people can't maintain proper hygiene. Having these supplies isn't just about comfort, it's about keeping your family healthy. And speaking of health, supply number 7 is something that could genuinely save a life, and it's the most overlooked item on this entire list. Supply number 7, prescription medications and first aid. All right, this is where things get critical, and I mean truly critical. Let me share something that happened just 3 months ago in North Carolina that absolutely broke my heart. A father of 2, diabetic for 15 years, lost power during a winter storm. His insulin needed to stay refrigerated between 36 and 46 degrees Fahrenheit. By day 3 of the blackout, his insulin had gone bad. He didn't have backup medication, and by day 5, he was in the hospital in diabetic ketoacidosis. The worst part? His doctor said this was completely preventable. This isn't some rare horror story either. According to the American Society of Health System Pharmacists, medication-related emergencies spike by 40% during extended power outages. Here's what most people don't realize until it's too late. The FDA released new guidelines in 2025 stating that temperature fluctuations can degrade medications within just hours, not days. We're talking about life-saving drugs like insulin, certain antibiotics, and heart medications becoming useless faster than you think. Now here's where it gets even more serious. Emergency room data from the recent August 2025 blackouts shows that injuries during power outages increased by 35%. People are stumbling around in the dark, using dangerous candles, dealing with food poisoning from spoiled refrigerated items. One family in Texas told reporters they went through an entire first aid kit in just 4 days, treating cuts, burns, and dehydration. Here's your action plan right now. First, talk to your doctor today about getting a 90-day supply of critical medications instead of 30. Most insurance plans allow this, and it gives you a crucial safety buffer. Second, if anyone in your family needs refrigerated medications, make that medication fridge your number 1 priority when the power goes out. Use your portable power station to keep it running. Third, build a serious first aid kit. I'm talking bandages, antibiotic ointment, pain relievers, antiseptic wipes, medical tape, and emergency thermal blankets. But here's what changed everything for me. I took a Red Cross first aid course last year, and let me tell you, knowing what to do when you can't immediately call 911 is absolutely priceless. During major blackouts, emergency response times can triple. A paramedic friend told me something chilling. He said during the last major outage in his area, calls that normally took 10 minutes to respond to were taking 45 minutes because everyone was calling at once and roads were blocked. Your first aid knowledge could literally save a life during that critical window. Don't wait until the lights go out to think about this. Check your medications right now, build that first aid kit this week, and consider taking that course. Trust me, your future self will thank you. Supply number 8, non-perishable food and water. All right, Let me share something that honestly kept me up at night when I first discovered it. Last month, I was reading through the Department of Energy's latest report, and buried in the data was this absolutely chilling statistic. Blackout hours could increase by 100 times by 2030. 100 times. Let that sink in for a second. We're not talking about your typical 2-hour outage anymore. We're talking about multi-day, possibly week-long situations where you're completely cut off. Now, here's what really shocked me when I started digging deeper. I interviewed families who lived through the 2021 Texas winter storm, and you know what they told me? It wasn't the cold that nearly broke them. It was the hunger. One mom from Houston, her name was Jennifer, she broke down telling me how on day 4, her kids were crying because they'd run out of everything except some stale crackers and a jar of pickles. She had money, she had a nice home, but she didn't have food that didn't require cooking or refrigeration. The grocery stores nearby were either closed or stripped bare within hours. Here's the brutal truth that nobody talks about. According to recent surveys, the average American household has maybe 72 hours of food that doesn't need power to prepare. 3 days. That's it. And with the way our power grid is straining, with extreme weather events happening more frequently, 3 days isn't nearly enough anymore. Trust me on this. I've spent weeks researching this stuff, and the data is genuinely alarming. But here's where it gets practical. You don't need to become some hardcore prepper with a bunker full of freeze-dried meals. You just need to be smart about it. Start with water, 1 gallon per person per day. For my family of 4, I keep 56 gallons stored. Sounds crazy, right? But I bought them during off-season sales at $2.50 per 24-pack, stored them in my basement, and honestly, I sleep better knowing they're there. As for food, think comfort and calories. Peanut butter is my secret weapon. It's packed with protein, never goes bad, and my kids actually love it. I stock canned chicken, black beans, tuna, pasta, rice, and instant oatmeal. Here's my pro tip that changed everything. Shop your pantry like a grocery store. Every month, I rotate the oldest cans into our regular meals and replace them with fresh stock. Nothing expires, nothing goes to waste, and we're always ready. During Hurricane Ida, my neighbor lost everything in his fridge and had nothing to feed his family for 5 days. Meanwhile, we were eating relatively well and even shared some supplies. That's the difference preparation makes, you know? Supply number 9, cash. All right, here's something that's going to sound old school, but trust me on this. During major power outages, electronic payment systems go down. ATMs stop working. Credit card readers are useless. And suddenly, that fancy Apple Pay on your phone is worth absolutely nothing. Let me tell you what happened during the 2021 Texas blackout that shocked everyone. Gas stations that still had fuel couldn't process electronic payments. Convenience stores could only accept cash. People with money in the bank couldn't access it because ATMs were offline, banks were closed, and nothing electronic worked. Here's the harsh reality. According to Federal Reserve data, about 60% of Americans carry less than $20 in cash at any given time. During a major blackout, that's nowhere near enough. Pro tip from emergency preparedness experts. Keep at least $500 in small bills in your emergency kit. I'm talking 1s, 5s, 10s, and 20s. Why small bills? Because during an emergency, nobody's going to be able to make change for a $100 bill. But here's where it gets interesting. Don't just throw cash in a drawer and forget about it. Store it in a waterproof, fireproof container. I learned this the hard way when a pipe burst in my basement and nearly ruined my emergency stash. Now I keep mine in a small fireproof safe that cost me $35 on Amazon. Here's a real-world example that drives this home. Last year in North Carolina, a gas station owner told reporters that during a 5-day blackout, customers with cash got fuel. Customers with only cards had to go home empty-handed. Some people were offering to Venmo or PayPal him. None of that worked without internet. Quick reality check. Cash is also crucial for emergency. Supplies. Ice, batteries, water. During outages, the stores that are open often can only process cash transactions. If you're caught without it, you're out of luck. Here's a bonus tip that most people miss. Keep some cash in your car too. Not your entire emergency fund, but maybe $50 to $100 in small bills. If you're away from home when disaster strikes, you'll be glad you did. And here's something to think about. Cash can also be used for bartering and helping neighbors during extended emergencies. Community support becomes crucial when systems fail. All right, folks, let's wrap this up. We just covered 9 critical supplies that could make all the difference between comfort and chaos during the next blackout. And with power outages increasing by 20% every year, this isn't about if, it's about when. Quick recap of our survival essentials. 1. Portable power station with solar charging. 2. LED lanterns and flashlights. 3. Emergency heating and cooling solutions. 4. Coolers and ice packs. 5. Emergency radio. 6. Hygiene and sanitation supplies. 7. Prescription medications and first aid. 8. Non-perishable food and water. 9. Cash and small bills. Here's my challenge to you. Don't try to get everything at once. Start with items 1 through 3 this month. Add 4 through 6 next month. Finish with 7 through 9 the month after. In just 3 months, you'll be more prepared than 90% of American households. Remember, these aren't just blackout supplies. These are emergency essentials for any situation. Storms, natural disasters, grid failures, whatever comes our way. If this video helped you feel more prepared, smash that like button and hit subscribe. Drop a comment telling me which supply you're grabbing first. And here's a question for the community. What's the longest power outage you've personally experienced? Share your story below. We can all learn from each other. Next week, I'm revealing the 7 biggest mistakes people make during blackouts that actually make situations worse. You won't want to miss that one. Turn on notifications so you catch it. Stay prepared, stay smart, and I'll see you in the next one.